Hi guys, this is Tim Barney down at Summit RV in Ashland, Kentucky. Today we're going to look at the Grand Design Solitude. This is the ST375RES-R, R for the residential refrigerator inside. I'd love to show you around, so right here in a second we're going to take a little tour and I'm going to show you a bunch of the features and nice little functions of this unit. If you need more questions answered, or if you feel like you want to make this or any other camper yours, just call me 606-928-6795. Again, ask for Tim Barney, or email me, tim@summitrv.com. Landed on the Grand Design Solitude here, probably one of the best made things in the industry. Before they built this camper, they interviewed people like yourself and said, hey, what do you guys want to see? What have you not seen before that you really want? What have you seen that you hate? And then they built this. And really, before they even built the first one, they pretty much sold out. And since then, they've been paving the way for everybody else. Walking up to it, you see it's beautiful. You've got this nice big molded front cap. The reason I point this out is because a lot of inferior campers, they don't have this. They have basically a flexed wall up front, and it looks all wavy after the first year or two because it's already leaking, and structurally it's just not as sound. This thing's more aerodynamic. All the wind and the water is going to brush right past it. Instead of having the seams right here where they're constantly getting pounded by all that action, put them over here, so that prevents delamination. Further, this is a double insulated front cap, which means your head, since you're sleeping down here at night, you're going to be a lot more comfortable. Most people in their Arctic or glacier or whatever packages, this is an area they skip. So I really like that. Walking up, you also see it's got a little bit wider frame. Usually these angled edges here are indicative of that larger frame at the bottom, which means structurally she's more sound. She's got a much stronger foundation. So all these places where the walls and the floors have met that steel frame, it's not going to have the flex and the twist of a normal camper. If you look closely, you don't see the fibers in the fiberglass, do you? Once again, saying this is a top-tier unit. They put a gel coat on this, so not only the wind and the water, but UV damage, nicks and scuffs, a lot harder to see here. It's a lot harder to damage. Further, they are thicker walls. This thing has something like 4 layers of insulation between fiberglass, foam block, a thicker fiberglass, space foil, all those things that add to its 4-season package. Now, I see a lot of terms out there. Glacier, Arctic, polar, on and on, thermal, but they don't all mean the same thing. I get a person that comes in like yourself and they say, I want 4 seasons because I'm going to be in it 12 months out of the year. Well, that's great, but unfortunately, maybe a salesperson who just wants to sell you something, anything, whatever, they'll say, oh yeah, that's 4 season, look, it's got a thermal package, but it's really not. These guys, this is the way I put it. If it's really 4 season, they'll brag about it. They'll put it in those terms because they know they're putting the reputation on the line. So this thing is ready for all climates. And those extra layers there are really locking in that heat. Here, they've got one of the biggest pass-through storage areas in the industry. It is also a heated and insulated pass-through storage area. So if you've got temperature-sensitive stuff, this is important. Now, most people, most of the campers, they've got tubes, water, and all kinds of stuff right behind this panel. But this isn't insulated or heated for most people. So in the first really cold night, drops down to 0 degrees, what's going to happen to that? It's going to freeze. So now I've got heat flow down here to protect that, make it last that much longer. You probably noticed this thing, it doesn't have those cheap little plastic hooks. It's got magnetic latches. Magnets last for, what, thousands of years? I slam that up there, it's out of my way, right? That thing's not going to break off after the first 2 or 3 uses like some of these other guys. And if you feel this, put your hand, you see how heavy that is? There's that insulation. Yeah, she's durable. You know, you open up enough of these, you realize some of these are flimsy. They bend halfway as you try to lift the weight of it up. Not here, though. Frameless windows, that's the way of the future. We're going to see more and more of that now. So what that offers us is a couple of benefits. First, they're going to tilt upward. So if rain comes in, it's going to hit and roll off. Whereas the other guys, they slide to the side like this over here. And then if rain comes in, it's going to get in there. Another thing is the seals are now behind a UV barrier, so the sunlight isn't going to be as hard on this thing. Plus, it just looks cool. It's very modern and chic. Now, over here, we move back to the slide outs. You notice there's some toppers on these things. That's great. Now, for a person that's just going to park this for 12 months and never move it, maybe not as important. But if there's that constant in and out, and you're not the person who's realistically going to get up there and make sure things aren't falling on there like sticks and other debris, this is cool because as soon as you slide this in, all that's just going to roll right off. That's not me telling you never to look up there, but helps prevent leaks once more. And since I'm talking about leaks so much, if you pull this back, you look behind this seal, you'll see double and triple squeegees in there, so water's not going to get in this thing. And one thing, touch and feel. Come over here. I want you to feel this sidewall. See how solid that is? Notice there's no flex. If you compare that to some other lesser builders out there, this is a very flexible surface. The rear wall and some other areas, they're going to bend when I press in like this, but that's solid. What that means is if it's not flexing here, it's not flexing here. If it's not flexing there, then I'm less likely to have a leak. Moving further back, I like this for you, Misty, because I know you're working on the pipeline, and you got a bunch of tools with you. And then occasionally you're going to have the kids, and you want to take your kayaks. Look at all this space. I've seen imitators try to pull this off, but they definitely don't have this cool contraption back
And you
here.
could put your kayaks right in there. It's
You
huge.
sure could, yeah. Pull this handle here. Pull that on out. Look at the depth that this offers us. Think of all the big stuff you can put here. You got some big trips ahead of you. So maybe you're going to put your winter gear down here, so you've got more closet space up there. And then the other part of the year, you swap it out. You put that back down in here. And this also gives us a real good chance to see what kind of framing she's got. You see, look up under here. You see this aluminum tubing here? Now, most people stop with that. They put aluminum tubing. Or the lightweight classes, they just cut that in half. Really hate to see that. But these guys put wooden studs in the tubing. You know why they do that? Well, what happens with screws when they're put into another piece of metal? If there's flex, eventually those threads are going to come apart, right? And the next thing you know, they're not holding together at all. If they put wood in this, they can grip and last a lot longer. So you have the longevity of aluminum, but you have that structural support of the screw. So they did both things. And that means that a Solitude's just slightly heavier generally on average than their competitor. But it means something. It's an important weight. And here's that solid wall, rear wall I was talking to you about. We've got some LEDs around here and a pre-wiring setup for a backup camera. I'd recommend the observation style. You leave it on all the time. We've got a really great Furion on 2 over in the parts store, about $367. Nice thing about this is that the wiring's already there, so she's got power and she's got a cool bracket. And when you're pulling a rig this big, that's a nice investment for you. We can do all that here. You can also see this nice curvature to the rooftop. So water's pooling away and it's not setting up there. There's a lot flatter roofs out there and water just sits, much less likely. Now this has full roof decking. I can walk around up there. I'll use this ladder attached to the side to get up there. Why is that important? Why would somebody want to get up on the rooftop? Well, you know what I found out, Misty, is that a lot of people have never been told by a salesperson or otherwise what they need to do to keep this thing around. From the top to the least in terms of campers. There are areas that they have a natural shelf life, like these seams, and they need to be looked at. It doesn't matter how well it's built. At some point, this is going to wear out. So I encourage you, take a look at this once every few months. Once every few months, examine this. See if it's come apart. Doesn't matter who you buy, just look. And once a year, get up on there, check out your rooftop, condition it, and it will last so much longer. You'll be much happier. Coming around to the side, we've got some larger wheels. Aluminum rims. What's that mean for you? Well, they look awesome. And it also means less road noise. Steel wheels, they have a loud rumble. So this is going to feel a lot more smooth down the road. And it's a double axle. Of course it is. We got a lot more weight on top of these things. A double axle means it's easier for you to manipulate on the roadway, right? And that green cap means she's nitrogen filled. Some people out there think that's nitrous, but we Further around the side, I've got a detachable power cord, and you'll see it's Furion brand. I love Furion. Furion actually tests a lot of their components for a camper. It's not like some of these guys that go out and get the cheapest thing they can. They'll go pick up the Walmart special, they'll throw it in here, and that's fine for their home, but in a camper, we've got climate changes, we have vibrations and things, so they actually test those components. By having a detachable power cord, I'm not snaking it into the side. You ever had that happen, those older, especially sticking 10 units and busting up your knuckles, and it's even worse when it's cold? Exactly. Coming around, pop this open. Oh, and I'm not too tall, but if I was a little taller, it would probably mean, you might have an inch on me actually, Misty. There's some lights under here that will pop on for us, and that'll keep it on a dark night. You walk around the corner so you don't whack your head. You know, I hit my head so hard on one of these, one time it put me out of work for a week. I mean, I hit it hard. So that's going to help prevent me from doing that. I'm seeing a lot of people do this now. They're starting to imitate, but I saw it start here. This color-coded system, so user-friendly. Everything you want to do from dry camping to sanitizing, just match the configuration. A lot of these are just all white caps. If they even have this many knobs in here, it looks a little intimidating, but if you look at enough of these with me, you'll see why this is so much better. And it's all concealed. It's not out here, so this is protected with that insulation, and it can be locked up, so I don't have pesky kids coming over, you know, your grandkids coming over, and they want to touch and feel, because this is all their height, right? So they're walking over here, they want to pull, it's all locked up and hidden away. I can bring my tubes and cables up through here, connect for satellite and cable, because this thing is pre-wired for that. My releases here are no longer under my slide. You've probably had those experiences where you're crawling around through the mud trying to open that thing up and empty out your black tank.
And they still freeze because they're outside.
No more. These are heated dump valve areas too, so a lot more protected. Fully residential filtration. Every bit of water in this thing is totally filtered. Really appreciate that. Black tank flusher. So we'll put fresh water in here with our hose, and we use jets to clear out that black tank instead of us just waiting for gravity to do all the work. It's going to make the tank last longer too. I've got less particulates in there just getting stuck, right? Other things, this cool little pump here. So people are trying to dangle the winterization jug up in the air to pour it in there to get it winterized. I can set it on the ground, connect the hose, and it will suck it out of there for me and winterize. Really love that feature. And a hot and cold water shower. I like that. Who's going to shower outside? Well, we do live in the foothills of Kentucky, so we have a lot of that. But I like it for a hike. If I come back from the beach and spray off the sand. If I'm taking a dog with me, those guys get muddy if they're having a good time. Spray them off. Or the kids, they do the same thing. They jump into every mud hole they see, so you can spray them off, hose them down before they go back in. So really like that. More lighting around so you can see all these cool features too. And one big thing, we've got 6-point auto leveling. It's hydraulic. Hydraulic's going to be stronger than the electric motor, so we can push more weight around here. And I just press one button, it does everything for me. We're getting to a point and into a class of fifth wheel where maybe we don't want to crank everything. I don't want to have to get down there and turn the things, crank down the jacks. Maybe I don't want to bring my power drill and do it anymore. I'd just like to press a button and it'd all do it for me. And now I have that. I think it's time we go inside. On the way around, I didn't point this out earlier, but she's prepped for solar. We're getting into that realm. More and more people want to go off grid. More and more people are thinking about energy efficiency and taking care of the planet. This is great. So she's got a connection here, and I believe this model also has a connection up on her rooftop. She's a big rig, so I mean it might be nice not to have cables hanging all the way down here to try and make that connection. The solid step entryway. For what you have in mind being in here for a long period of time, that constant in and out, that flex that can happen with those folding stairs, that can wear out the body with as much as you're going to use it. So this hits the ground, and we're not going to have to worry about that. It just folds right up inside. If we lift it up, you see it's real light, and it snaps right inside the door. Nothing hanging down out here, so it's protected from the elements when we're en route, and it is adjustable. I can change the height. If I want it to be a little closer to the ground or a little higher up, I certainly can. Walking in, we've got this nice entry assist rail, which is great as you get older, or if we have little kids coming in and out, there's nothing for a lot of them to grip onto. They hold on to this, or there's this little handle here, so this is great for us. Next, I just kind of want to step out of the way for a second. I want you to just look around. This is beautiful, right? Imagine coming to this every day. Imagine bringing friends over. This is the kind of camper you're proud of. It's beautiful. It's nicer than anywhere I've ever lived. So I think it could really be something for you. First thing, we're in the kitchen here. One reason I like this layout a lot is because it separates all the important areas without sacrificing the openness of it. What I mean is, I've got a designated kitchen and dining area. I've got a designated living area, where some layouts are all together and you kind of feel like you're on top of each other. You have the best of both worlds here, I think. To your right, we have a residential refrigerator. So she's got a higher capacity. Yeah, please, open her up. Look at how much space you have. And I recommend you always open these up. Some of them are a little deceptive. They look like they're going to be big, but then they're not. This is massive. I believe she's 18 cubic feet. Most camper fridges are between 6 and 8. Below, if you slide out that freezer drawer, see what's on the left side there? That's our ice maker. No more bringing bags of ice. This thing will pop it out for us. And it's all filtered because we just saw that filtration system outside. Coming further down, I not only have this Furrion oven with the glass door front so I can see my cookies baking without having to pop open and let the heat out. I've got this upgraded stove top. It's gas. And then above that, a convection microwave oven. So I can bake biscuits up there while I'm baking cookies down below. My sales manager has one of these. She tells me she uses it all the time, and it's super efficient, doesn't use a lot of power. Really, really nice. Now here, this double basin sink. You know, I know I see a lot of the farm style sinks these days. It's one big basin. It looks really cool at first, and then you try to wash and dry dishes for the first time, and it's not very practical anymore. Now I can wash over here, I can dry over here, and there's enough depth I can put a lot of dishware in there. Close on the faucet. Lots of stainless steel we're seeing all around here, and I love these solid inserts, not that cheap plastic stuff. This is the real deal. I've just amplified and expanded my counter space, right? So when you're ready to present, you got a potluck going on, you've got different pieces of dishware around here. What's the thing I'm thinking of? The pot. What's the crock pot? You've got crock pots all over. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
What's behind you here? Let's go ahead and open that up. Look at that pantry. It's huge, right? You got plenty of space. And you know what? And a lot of people miss. You notice the store's not going any further. Why is that important? You've got this really expensive and beautiful stainless steel fridge behind you. It looks like seatbelt material, so you know that stuff's tough stuff. If the kids come in here and they want to get a bag of chips, they want to sling this thing open, and you got dents, and you're not happy, and you're screaming, and then camping trips messed up now. Not here. Not here. And we've got motion sensor lighting throughout. I believe this is one of those areas. When we walked in, the pass-through storage, and some of our other interior storage areas, pops on. I don't have to go searching for it. It just knows that I'm there. Beautiful backsplash. Most of the time, that's just wallpaper, Misty. And you get really disappointed when you go up to touch and feel it, and you're like, oh, there's no depth. It just looks like texture. This is real subway tile. That's beautiful. Of course, we've got our freestanding dinette. I think that's more residential. That feels more like home. I mean, when I go to a restaurant, I always sit in the booth because I think they're all nice and cushy. But if I've got family around here and we're having game night, I think this is going to give me a little bit more elbow room, and I can manipulate this. I can move this out of the way. I can bring it down to the end. I can lift this leaf up with a little bit more counter space if I want. Pops up just like so. While we're looking over here, my attention is drawn to these big windows. You notice we're going to have a lot of natural light pouring in. These are insulated windows, and I love these valances around the sides. You notice that they're wooden? They're not that cheap fabric stuff, and you notice they're not all flimsy. Well, what's nice about this is I'm not going to have any light bleeding out here when I pull these slow draw blinds down. This one's stuck up there a little bit, so let me grab us another one here. I'll show you what that looks like. Got a little drawstring here. Now, isn't that much nicer than those collapsible accordion blinds? Further, if kids want to come over and pull this, you know how the old style would slap, you know, they go up real quick. That's why they call it a slow draw, typically. Trust me, the others are that slow. You know what? That probably just needs tightened up a little bit. Well, that can be handled pretty quickly.
They are. They usually just go really slowly.
Walking, before we go up the stairway, I'll pull this out of the way because I want you to see your hutch. Now, I like this because if I want to get up in the morning and make coffee or I'm making breakfast and I've got guests hanging out up here, they may not want me to turn on the TV and watch the news while they're sleeping. I can divide that section off with this curtain so I'm not disturbing them. I can still watch my news and have my coffee over here, read the paper without messing with them. So I'll put that back. My control panel. You know what's super cool about this? There's an app for everything now, right? I can control my major functions, even the lights, from my phone now. Isn't that sweet? So you give the password to whomever you choose. You know, your husband, your boyfriend, your if you want to give it to your grandkids, if you're brave enough to have them handling your jacks, you can control all that from right here or on your phone. Really like that. It broadcasts its own frequency. So it's kind of like it's got its own Wi-Fi, but it's not connected to the internet. I know some people ask me about that. It's just right here. Okay? Move upstairs. Before we do, you see the storage under here? Let's put our slippers under there or get them out before we go up into our beautiful living room. Much less carpet now, right? That's the trend. Actually, I think it was kind of crazy that we had carpet in a camper in the first place. I know it was awesome for the homes. It feels nice on your feet, but it can be a nightmare to keep clean, and you've got allergens. But this is fully laminated all the way around, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. I see you've sat down in our Thomas Paine collection recliners. Pretty cushy, right?
Yes.
One new feature for the 2018 versions, part 2 by the way. This little insert pops right out. If I want to put my plate when I'm watching the game, then I can put it right in here. And in this cup holder, if you look, see how it's lit up there? These are all touch sensitive, and you can play with yours over here. Go ahead. Play around with some of those. What do you have going on there? A little massage, a little heat, Yeah, there's also this cool light effect. It's got some lights wrapped around the bottom, the cup holder.
I already had my heat on, so it was nice.
Yeah. A cold night, that can be sweet. And you've got the motorized recline. Now, most of the other units, they're just mechanical. I've got a little pulley system in the seat. You're seeing more Thomas Paine. The other competitors out there, I've seen them in Keystones and some others, but they don't have all these cool perks. They certainly don't. Here, I've got these two sofas. And if you might guess, you're like, well, they probably turn into a bed. Yeah, because a lot of sofas and campers do. But what kind of bed? There's three types. There's a jackknife, there's an inflatable bed, and then there's this trifold. Probably my favorite. Let me move this phone out of the way. I want you to see just how much space you'll have up here for your grandkids when they decide to come along. When I pull these away, did you hear that Velcro sound? Then that's probably going to indicate a trifold bed. If you're ever looking through enough of them and you just want to give a little tug without pulling it all out, that's probably going to be the case. I'm going to pull it out, but I'm going to ask you to put it back in because I want you to see how easy it is. I just lift from the bottom. Now I'm going to pull these legs out. You can count about how long it took for me to do that. And one last step. I have a bed. Want to try it out? It's cushier than it looks. Crawl on over there.
You can also use this to store when you make your bed.
You absolutely can. We can put blankets, sheets down there, so you're already thinking. You got the right idea.
Don't be able to pull
That.
it.
Now, if you don't mind,
Pretty hard.
give me a hand here. Let's put it up together. I want you to see how easy it is. It's going to flex in the middle, and we'll put these legs in. Just guide it down. There we go. And we just slap these back up there, and we're good to go. What did that take us? 5 seconds? And this is a heck of a lot more comfy than a futon. I'll tell you. Futon, you might sleep one kid or one adult. You've got two adults here. Guess what? You got two adults there too. You can make this entire front end one big bed. And if you have a good number of grandkids, they'll love that. Absolutely.
Oh my God, this never sleeps.
Yeah. So, you're right across from the TV. Some of these campers, do you ever notice they put the TV in the worst position? You're down here, it's at the other end of the camper, and you're turning to watch the game like this the entire time. And your neck's hurting at night, and it's just miserable. You basically don't ever want to watch it. I've got this nice big screen TV on a televator. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, that's the light switch. Televator. Elevator for your TV. I'm going to take this out of the way because I'm backed up against the lake and I want to watch the sunset with my boo. Makes for a really nice display. Alright, now TV's out of the way, no problem. Down below it, an electric-based fireplace. Why is that important? Well, one, a lot of the campgrounds you go to, they give you free electric anyway. So use this. Don't run down your propane tank. We've got approximately, I think, 40,000 BTUs furnace heat coming through here. That's enough to run you out of here. This thing is strong enough, being 5,200 BTU, it could pretty well clear you out as well. So feet are staying nice and warm, and it's also kind of romantic. You get the lights going. You can see. You can just turn on the lights if you want. You can replace this with some little rocks in the front, but that's super nice. Other things I want to point out while we're here. We've got some extra surround sound speakers. They're extended throughout here, connected to your TV. You also have multiple zones for your sound system. We can have indoor listening to one thing, outdoor listening to another. Maybe you don't want to listen to the game. Boys are outside watching the game. You want to be in here jamming the music while you're doing something else, you can do that. Let's see. Oh, looking up. So, you see these ducts here? Most of your air conditioning is going to come from above, and your heat is going to come from below. It's much more efficient. Cool air is going to drop. We know that from science class. Heat's going to rise up. A little surprised they don't do that in more homes, actually. I feel like we'd be using a lot less power if we did that. So we can adjust these. We can close these if we want. And one reason I point this out, I mean, you might expect everything to have an air conditioner, but you won't have one that's efficient. They use a racetrack pattern, okay? So, I don't know if you know what the Hyperloop is. Have you heard of the Hyperloop? Mm-hmm. It's this, you know, they're doing a lot of different experiments. They're crashing atoms together and stuff like that. And it looks like one big oval, and then you've got some smaller ones on the inside. That's where they speed it up even more. Well, this kind of looks like that. It's one big loop, or maybe you're a NASCAR fan, and then a couple of inner loops. That means that the air can move more freely, unobstructed. A lot of these guys, they have a squared configuration. And what happens is, maybe it's better to imagine it like water. When water hits this corner, it just gets stuck here, and then it slowly moves from there. So your AC is working even harder to cool the same amount of space. Because this is rounded all the way around, it's 23% more efficient. But not only that, see, they didn't have a problem making it cool more quickly. And by more quickly, I mean this thing could probably cool down in 45 minutes compared to about 6 or 7 hours for its competitor. We've seen those numbers. It's also twice as quiet. That was the hardest challenge. Camper ACs are notorious for being loud. They've got a really loud hum. So they worked with their engineers for a long time, and they finally did it. This is twice as quiet as the standard AC. I'd turn it on for you, but with the circuit that we're connected to right now, I'd probably shut down the place. So we're not going to do that, okay? Now I have 2 air conditioners as well. That's 30,000 BTU of air conditioning power. A lot of the fifth wheels only have 15, maybe 13.5, or they have a 15 and a 13.5. But this is the biggest. That's what you want. You got a lot of people in here. They're cranking out all their heat. You want that extra air conditioning. But it means more for another reason, because you have a real 4-season package that holds all that cool air in. Okay? So, I think we've seen quite a bit up at the front here. Maybe we should move back towards the rear. Oh, I didn't even point out the USB ports. They're trying to future-proof this thing. Grand Design has been very, very intentional about putting outlets everywhere they can. Some of them are hidden, like up here, up underneath, because they don't want them all out there in the open, because they can be kind of unsightly. But you're never going to have an issue finding a place to charge your phone or your tablet or your other smart devices. Okay, Misty, as we walk upstairs, you're going to see that we have a digital thermostat, not the manual little knob thing that you're used to. Definitely a lot nicer. A lot less carpeting as we walk up. Actually, none, right? We're only going to see them mainly in the slide-out areas, and that's still there primarily to create the illusion of a flush floor. So, I'd like for you to come up and check out this awesome bathroom. Notice there's a pocket door here, no obstructions. When we have those swinging doors, although they look like home, they're kind of hard to get around in this smaller space. But this gives us a lot more room. We have a porcelain toilet here instead of plastic. Once again, more residential, easier to keep clean, longer lasting. I love that we've got these hooks up here. It's a simple little feature, but it's great when we got a big crew and everybody wants to hang up their towels. And then if you walk in, Misty, try and open up that cabinet door there. Do you see how deep that is? It pretty much goes all the way to the outer wall.
It's very deep.
A lot of bathrooms in campers simply have no space for your not tools, but toiletries, your towels and things. So we've got plenty of space for all that. And if it doesn't fit there, we've got more room in here. An actual usable medicine cabinet and space below, as you can see. Love this glass bowl, very sharp, and that one-piece fiberglass shower. Why don't you go ahead and stand in there, Misty, see what you think. Does it feel strong? Does it feel sturdy?
Yes.
So many of us have stepped into a lot of campers where the moment we stepped in, the whole bottom of the shower flexed down, which made us feel terrible, like we had to lose weight or something. But this is structurally more sound than most showers on the market. It is one-piece fiberglass shower, and there's no seams all the way around. So that means there's less chance of mold and mildew. It's easier to keep clean. If you look up, you'll notice that is a metallic shower nozzle and hose there. Most of the time, that's just plastic. Once again, they're spending a few extra dollars to make something that's longer lasting. And above you, we've got that skylight there. So for our taller men and women, they sometimes step into these showers and they don't feel like they've got enough room to breathe, let alone stand up. But here, there's definitely going to be enough height for them. And to draw out the steam, right up here, we've got a motorized fan that'll draw all that stuff out so you can see yourself in the mirror when you step out of the shower. If we come around, here we have the master bedroom. This is going to be a king-size bed here. One thing I really, really appreciate about Grand Design is the underbed storage. First thing I'll point out is, obviously, the amount of space we have. I love how it's all divided up and finished. A lot of times it's exposed wood. It doesn't really look that nice. The next thing I want to point out is how high this bed will lift. A lot of the beds I notice come up about halfway, which means I never want to get under here. I might throw some blankets and then never use it. Now, because I can come all the way back here without bumping my head or without having to balance it on top of my head, I'll put shoes and other things, and I'll actually use this maybe every day. Here, we can put jewelry, or maybe if you have a concealed carry or other firearms, you can put your handguns here. Maybe umbrellas, all sorts of things. Under here, place to store my shoes.
That's huge.
And to sit and put them on in the morning without waking up the person that's in the bed. Beautiful headboard here. Love these features here. and still have those slow draw blinds over here. It's nice to have windows in the slide out, especially in the bed area, because you're going to feel a lot less claustrophobic. Sometimes you crawl back into these and it feels like you're crawling into a coffin, but there's plenty of room here. You're not going to feel crowded. Looking around, I see some outlets nearby, which is nice for my people that have sleep apnea, and they've got some special machines for that. They can put the apparatus nearby, plug it in, and they're not obstructing their floor space. Behind me, I have a full-size mirror, which is great. A lot of these campers, there's nowhere to check yourself out before you head out the door. You don't know what you look like, but here we can actually see how we look before we depart. Got plenty of places for all my shoes and accessories, and they qualify this as a walk-in closet because I can actually stand in it. So definitely enough space for you guys. And then over on the right side, this is another closet area that can be utilized as a washer-dryer storage location. You can actually put a stackable system in here. You can
I like it. I like that one better than being in the closet.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Sometimes when we have to put them both at one side, or I can only put a combo unit in here, it feels like there's greater obstruction and I have a lot less space for all of my clothing, but not here. And you see there's lights so we can see more, we can see better. One thing I like about the bedrooms in the Grand Design product, especially this layout here, is this was just so intelligently designed. A lot of times you either have a big window and then TV's awkwardly placed over to the side, or you have a big dresser and then you don't really have room for either of these things, but they were able to get all three things in here and it looks great. I have a big TV, I have a big window, and I have 6 dresser drawers here. 4-walled, ball-bearing drawers. That's the nice stuff. That's what you want in your home right there. So, really, really smart. Yeah, another slow draw blind there. Much easier to keep clean. If the kiddos are coming in here, you've seen the collapsible accordion blinds. I know I've talked about this at least once, but the kids will bump into it, and then it's really hard to get that pattern back and then to raise or lower it from that point on. But here, super easy. If you spill something on it, wipes right off. Above us here, we have a king jack. So this is an antenna for your television. It has a booster on it, so we're going to get a much stronger signal, okay? And you'll notice it's on a little dial, instead of those little plastic arm crank things that can break off after the first 4 or 5 uses. Much, much more durable. Above us you see the second AC. I might have mentioned before, this is at least a 30,000 BTU AC setup on the racetrack ventilation system, and another digital thermostat just for this bedroom. See, if you have your bedroom at the front, near the front cap, sometimes it can get a little warmer up here. So you want it to be cooler when you're sleeping than your guests do down at the other end. So I really appreciate that it's in here, and it's not down the hall, so I don't have to get up in the middle of the night in my pajamas and go maybe wake somebody up in order to go adjust that. It's all right here. Other than that, guys, I think we've pretty well covered everything. So what do you think, Misty? Does this check most of your boxes? Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was educational for you, and maybe I showed you some things about the Grand Design Solitude you've never seen before. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, just give me a call, 606-928-6795. Again, my name is Tim Barney. I'm at Summit RV. If you'd like, you can email me at tim@summitrv.com. Thanks, and have a nice day.